Hi, I'm Dennis, and the creator of the Marine Diesel Basics books. Well, the second book in this series, How Everything Works, Installation Guidelines and Best Practices, will be published in about 4 to 6 weeks' time. It's a big book, 600 pages, 2,500 drawings. In this video, I want to dive in and show you what's included in the electrical chapter. It's one of the longest in the book, 130 pages. Electricity on a boat, particularly diesel systems, seems to be quite a mystery. So I go into things in great detail. Everything from crimping terminals and lugs to Class T fuses. There's quite a detailed section on lithium ion. Not primarily because I think lithium ion is a good idea for start batteries, because I don't. I think lead acid is the way to go. But that is usually tied into lithium ion. So to do that safely, I go into it in quite a lot of detail to show how you can do it so the system is reliable, both for the house batteries and for starting the diesel engine. So let's take a look. The sixth section of the book is electrical. This is quite a full section, more than 140 pages. Again, a table of contents, fairly extensive coverage. There's quite a lot on lithium-ion batteries, and I'll explain that in a moment, although this is a marine diesel engine book. So starting right from the basis, 12 volt, 24 volt, a section about understanding battery negative or ground on a vessel and how that affects steel and aluminum hull boats, and wiring recommendations. Something about bonding, although bonding is not part of the diesel system necessarily. I've included them because it's all part. Once you get into the wiring and you've got the engine and starter and everything, you inevitably end up with bonding in there somewhere because it connects to the DC bus bar. So I decided I'd just cover it. Just going into some explanation. Very few vessels have floating ground, but again, I make an explanation of that. I still have to complete the key components, the electrical circuit. There's a couple of pages on electrical terms, just so we can all be clear about what things actually mean if we're not quite sure. Terminals, all the paraphernalia of electrical work. Tables about wiring and voltage drop and why voltage drop is important. Best practices for selecting marine wire. And then lugs, terminals, connectors, bus bars and studs. Again, these are the sort of paraphernalia of the electrical business. So it's good to have a clear understanding of what they are, how to use them. Fuses especially, different types of fuses, high amperage fuses, including Class T and standalone circuit breakers. Batteries, of course, explanation of both lead acid and lithium ion, and the chemistry of each, how they're similar, how they're different, and particularly how they should be installed safely. I went into the lithium ion in considerable detail because if I've got a start battery, which personally I recommend is kept as a lead acid because it's just much more reliable. But if you then got the alternator, the start battery and the house battery all connected, and the house bank is lithium, as it is on more and more vessels, then I felt it was important to cover all of it because it needs to be thought of and planned as a single system and not, plug and play and not drop-in. Lithium is definitely not a drop-in replacement for lead acid. Needs thinking about. There's lots to go into, and I've tried to cover all of it insofar as it affects the diesel charging and the start battery, go into it in considerable detail so that people can make proper plans on their own vessels. Of course, alternators in some detail, and then regulators, both internal, how they work, and external, how they work, and how you can use them when you've got lithium batteries. Battery switches I haven't yet finished doing. And then on to DC to DC chargers and other aspects of multiple charging sources, alternators, solar, wind, shore power. And then sample wiring diagrams. Starters, of course, in some detail. And also aids to starting, so glow plugs, electric intake air heaters, and then a very thorough section on engine alarms, gauges, and senders. Good troubleshooting, one needs to have a good understanding of exactly how the different senders and gauges are working. So this is a fairly full section. And a section about fuel senders and gauges, the different types, the advantages and disadvantages, how they work exactly, everything from a dipstick to electric hydrostatic pressure fuel senders. And finally, a section on anodes, part of the electrical system. So that's the electrical section, more than 140 pages. I hope you found that interesting and useful. The book, Marine Diesel Basics 2, will be out in about 4 to 6 weeks' time. And until I meet you in person on the water, I wish you fair winds and a reliable diesel.